hope you're doing really well. We're trying to get back into the the once a week type thing. So hope everyone's doing really well. I'm hoping to be able to talk to you guys about some really cool things, including we have the square body. That's all ready to get the new front suspension. I'm starting to build a front-facing intake manifold that is brought down for the 8.2 liter Vortec. Sorry, 4.2 liter Vortec. The 8.1 liter Vortec is going inside the square body. Other than that, guys, well, I was hoping we can get some people in here. We had some conversation and see how everyone's doing. We had a great time. I'm used to having the camera side over there. We had a great time the other day over on John Wilburn's video live stream. We had a great time. That live is it's a riot. You have just Mopar Joe and Levi just going at it. Everyone over there is having a blast. I'm hoping we can get into the swing of things and start having our community come back the way it used to be as well. I also want to give a big shout out to John Wilburn. If you haven't already checked out John Wilburn's channel, head over there, hit that subscribe button, because I mean I'm very grateful that he had me on and we were able to demonstrate the car buddy. Dust Devil Garage. The other Brian with a Y. Funny story about, I don't know if he's ever had this issue come up, but I was in, I don't remember how old I was, but I was in the Sunday school, and it was brand new church, and the church teacher was writing my name down, and it was Brian with an I, and I'm like, and I pointed at it, I said, why? And she goes, well, because we need to write down your name so we know who you are. I'm like, no, why? And that, save a long story to a short thing, that went on for way too long, and finally I pointed at it. I said, no, it's spelt with a Y. So for the utmost years that I went to that church afterwards, I was always known as Brian with a Y. So Brian, I don't know if you ever encountered that, but that was hilarious. Mama M, how you doing, Colleen? Big shout out to Colleen for picking up two. They're in the boxes ready to go out Monday. Well, I should say in a box ready to go out Monday. You ordered, if I'm not mistaken, you ordered an orange one of the base, and did you order a blue one? Someone else ordered a blue one. I think you ordered, can't remember. But yes, so big shout out to you. Thank you very much. Now, if you guys don't remember, a long time ago now, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years, so a long time ago now, Colleen is the awesome person who sent up the driver side frame rail for the 72 satellite, which, like, that was huge. That was a major component. So not only wonderful person, but someone that has actively helped the community and is always in the live streams over at John Wilburn's. There's so I sent them the car buddies out, which these guys out to 5 people, people that I've became really good friends with over the years, and John Wilburn was one, and the other gentlemen will pop up when they are ready to release theirs. Because the big thing was I wanted to see how everyone thought about it. It's not just to get something out to people. I'm not trying to, like, I'm making some gimmicky things, like I have a 1UZ little thing, which is also an ornament on the site. We have, you know, a big old LS, and same scale. Actually, this one I did for myself because I was really curious, because I have them around, but it's, if you want to see something neat, so this is what's in my Buick and this is what's in my Supra, and then you have a 440 over there, which I want to do that at some point too. But I wanted to see the comparison between the two. So this is actually an LS3 and this is a 1UZ FE, and it's crazy to think that this little thing will punch way above its weight limit, and like it's punching 17 pounds of boost at 77,000 RPMs. I can get it past that at 7,500 RPMs. In theory, I could push it to 8, but that would be completely insane. But yeah, so I have these guys right here, and I wasn't originally, because this takes almost 13 hours to make, and this is 12 hours to make. But it's really cool. You can see the differences in the way that the coolant passages are all built, and the oil passages is, I did it for myself. I wasn't really planning on selling it, but 3D printers, these are really good high-end ones, but if you don't already, you need one for your shop. If you're just trying to do, like, you can still do cardboard, what is it? Cardboard aided engineering. But by doing this, you can actually do a lot more. The 72 satellite went together with the cardboard. This we can do a lot more for prototyping, whether it's that or say that thing over there. I'm making a front-facing intake manifold for the 4.2 liter. And Colleen said pencil holders. I actually have these on the mark, blue, white, black, and this is business card holders, and you can put your pens on the sides. So, but yeah, just random stuff, and it's all being stored down here. One-eyed cat, how are you doing? We do our own stunts. How are you? Glad to see you're on here. Love your builds. Thank you, man. I do it so that I can not. So the reason why I started the channel was to keep myself accountable, and as things have kind of, I never expected it to go much more than just putting videos up. But if I can get you guys out there spending 15 minutes a day working on your projects, you know, that's a major, major thing. Brian, big shout out to you. Brian actually just ordered 2. I'll have to see which ones he ordered. Thank you, man. And I'm curious of what colors. If you let me know what colors you ordered. Brian with an I just body swapped an 08 Trailblazer SS, built the top end with the lifters cam, TC springs, done all with. See, that's the other thing. Like, get out with your kids. My kids are 6. Well, my twins are 6, and my youngest is just about to hit 4, and I'm really excited to see, you know, how, like, they're all like chomping at the bits to work on their cars. The 63 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, that's my daughter's. She's 2 years old. She has good taste. She was like, I want to keep that. The 06 Jeep Wrangler, that's going to my oldest son, and my youngest son chose the red Supra. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. And we're going to start working on stuff this year. Like, we still need to work on the square body, so we're gonna get their feet wet with the square body. Not that I expect them to, you know, do anything crazy. Okay, so Dust Devil Garage ordered 2 black on the intake. That's these guys right here. And I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys are new to these. It's set up for a standard Holley, and I was originally playing with a bunch of different designs, but ultimately it was better to have something that was good instead of a Swiss Army knife. But that just sits on there. If you put the original gasket from your carburetor on there at the same time, you'll be able to clean your engine and everything. So, but a good spot to keep everything. The other version goes right on the carburetor. I think a little bit later we're gonna try to do a giveaway on one if we can get a really good idea of a question. GY Tano, I don't know. Where should I buy my parts from? My 71 Buick 350 parts, internal. So internal components, the customer service is really good. I've tried to work with them in the past, but they are very, like, they have as much business as they really want. So they've never really wanted to do, so there's no sponsorship here. But I would recommend TA Performance. So hold on a second. I have this guy right here. This is a TA Performance SP3 350 intake manifold. The casting is phenomenal. So I have this over there. This was my test bed for a lot of things. We throw this so you can see the inside of it. The casting is awesome. So, not sponsored. If you're looking for a really good brand for your internals, your intake manifolds, your timing covers, if you're rebuilding a Buick engine, whether it's a 455 or a 350, definitely replace your timing cover, because that is also your oil pump, and they are notorious for being an utter mess. So grab yourself a new timing cover from there. There are other companies that make timing covers. Again, not sponsored, but that is your oil. Like, don't skimp on that. They're expensive, but don't skimp on that. And also, I don't know if they have them available for the Buick 455 that I'm slowly putting together. I need to get intake manifolds for it. I need an intake manifold for it, heads for it. I need a girdle, a bunch of things. The 350 is not as prone to splitting in half as the 455, but GY, how you doing? That's the next thing he said. Brian says, thanks, bud. Long tube headers and talking about loud and getting the exhaust. Long tube headers. Are you going to do header collector extensions, or are you going to go straight all the way back? You going to dump it right early, or what are we doing with that? One-Eyed Cat says wants 2 of the toppers, like the top hat ones, like these guys right here. We have plenty of the blues in stock. We're currently I'm not making anything. We have had 2 power outages today, so I don't want, like, the last time the battery backups were able to maintain the end of the runs, but until the wind kind of dies down, I've stopped production for today. We'll pick it back up in the morning. We do our own stunts. My kids are and I have built stuff on our channel as well. My 15-year-old daughter's learned to build her own 302. That's awesome. And did a 84 Mustang. It's all about family. If you like, I got into it because my dad loved off-roading. He loved working on his Wrangler Cherokee before that. And my stepdad has a 67 Camaro, and he's the reason why I know how to work on old muscle cars. Before that, my papa. So it's family. If you don't take the passion you have and start the ember in the next generation, this is gonna die. Also, it gives a good bonding opportunity. Like, we're gonna be taking the kids. I live like a little about an hour and a half away from Saratoga Battlefield, so we're getting them hyped up on the Revolutionary War and all the stuff that happened around here, because New York State, a little bit of Vermont, you have the Bennington battlefield, Massachusetts and Virginia were absolute critical states for the Revolutionary War. So I want to be able to put that passion into them as well, and so we're getting them hyped up to go there. Yeah, so Dust Devil Garage says every sale makes it easier for me. Yeah, so right now I'm no longer doing anything with hemming, so I've really scaled back quite a bit. So my response to be able to fill that void is to start making stuff, whether it's the carb buddies, which is, the carb buddies are the primary thing, but Vans Electric died with the COVID stuff. New York State did all the lockdowns, and 1958 the company started, and it's gone now. So this is how I'm doing it now. I know we have t-shirts and hats and stuff like that, but I if you want to buy them, definitely not going to tell you no. It helps, but I want to be able to offer you guys something that is more meaningful than me telling you to buy t-shirts. And yes, I would like to go to Sykeston this year. If I go to Sykeston this year, I'll be I'm probably taking the Buick because the Supra is apart, not because it's mechanical issues. But here's the thing, and this is something that a bunch of my buddies are like, yeah, it's a good sleeper though. I'm like, muscle cars look awesome, ratty. Like the Buick, I want to paint the roof white and then have people sign it. Like, not like famous people, just people I meet that help wrench on it and stuff. That's what I want to do with that. I love the ratty look to it. I absolutely love every ounce of that vehicle the way it is, except for I want to put twin turbos on it. That's it. The Supra looks like dog crap. Japanese cars and European cars do not, in my mind, I can't think of any that would look good. They look terrible, rusty. Mine's not rusty, there's all the clear coat's fading off. So I'm hoping to get that painted while I'm gonna paint the truck and paint the Supra in the same weekend. Have everything out, everything prepped. So all of the trims off. I need to replace the front windshield, so I'm gonna pop the front windshield off, and that way it's all gonna be the same thing though. Brian says he wants high flow cats straight out the back, but put rear dual, diffuse it on. It depends on where you are. If you can get away with not running cats, don't run cats. I mean, New York State, technically, you need to keep it out there, but James says, where are you and Randy going to finish? We'll start the project. You guys are doing the car. He said we're going to build a motor for it. from AAR. So that was a total mess. I was actually going to be building him an engine. There was a whole plan. I had a cam and everything. Not a big deal. It went into a different engine. Unfortunately, something happened that was out of his control, and it just kind of snowballed out of control. A couple people were really like just. It was better to just walk away from that project, and I think Randy made the right decision to just take that car, and instead of digging more into it, he gave it to the other person and said, you know, there's been people that say Randy is not a good person, that he's only out for himself. I've been involved with a lot of stuff, not even with YouTube. I've been the president of the Kiwanis local. I've been the president of one of the vice chairman of one of the local political parties. I've helped campaigns for congressmen and women and senates, you know, all the way down to local judge. I've golfed with a lot of them, and I've met a ton of people on YouTube. I've worked for companies now that I've been a producer for content. I've met a lot of people, and there are some people, there's few people that are like, you meet them and they're exactly what you expect. There's very few politicians, you meet them and they're exactly how you expect. They are totally off from their personalities. And then you get in the automotive industry, meeting Derek from Vice Grip Garage. We did mostly everything we did was over the phone and on conference calls. He's incredibly intelligent. He does this, like, he makes it seem like he's not smart. That guy is like truly brilliant. Dylan McCool is exactly how you expect him. Nick up in Montreal, exactly how you expect him. He's like a true saint. He put up with that situation really, really well. But there are very few people that you meet in reality that you're like, oh man, not what I expected. And so far, everyone is just like Joe from Just Mopar Joe, incredible guy. But Randy, he had no cause, but he shouted me out at 500 subscribers. He got me over the 1,000 subscriber mark. He didn't have to. You know, he did things because he really is a genuinely nice guy. Brian says it's allowed. He wanted them to. Yeah, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe I'm an old guy. So the Supra has exhaust cutouts. It dumps right out behind the collectors. Sounds badass. Sounds like a small block Chevy. A rowdy small block Chevy with a good supercharger line. The big issue you run into with just dumping it out is just, if you try going anywhere with it. I love the Buick. It's got a nice sound to it. It does. It sounds wicked cool. But you go on a 45-minute long ride with it, and it's just so droney, so loud. And it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm getting old. But cutouts are great because you can just turn that on whenever you want. Yet when I'm driving in the Supra anywhere, I have sound deadening in it, and I don't hear it. I have to have the windows down. I'm like, that's not really loud. My mom's like, it's loud. I'm like, it's not really loud. You put the exhaust, cutouts on. Oh, it's loud. Neighbors love it, for sure. So, wanting your car loud is great, but long road trips with it becomes a nightmare. He did mention he wants cutouts. I don't remember what brand I got. They were off of Summit Racing. They were expensive. They were like almost $500. They're great quality though. Every time I've actuated it, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's not super bulky. It's kind of on the larger side. If you want to get ones that aren't bulky, you have to do bolt on, take off type of thing. But if I have enough funds at the time, everything kind of works out. My goal, 2 Sykeston, I'd probably have to put an exhaust on that car. Otherwise, I'll lose my mind. The truck should be done by then, but I don't know. I kind of want to go on another road trip with the Buick. I had a lot of fun with it. There was a couple times I was worried I'd been left in Alabama, but hey, You know, that's the risk you take, kind of being like a conquistador. Take your ship, bring it to the other side, burn it down, and the only way to get back is build another one. So that's what we did. I flew down by myself to Texas, met up with Dunny B. Dunny B was awesome. I don't know, I haven't really seen much from his YouTube channel lately, but I hope you guys go down and hit that subscribe button over there. I do love the loudness. That 6.0 sounds awesome. Oh, that thing has got a, I don't remember how many miles are on it. I think it was close to 200,000 miles. So that right there, my goal for that engine is to just enjoy it, and then eventually the engine you see right there with the Edelbrock cross ram will end up being inside the, and there we go, I hit the button. So that will be inside the Buick, and hopefully we'll be able to do that hopefully soon. And twin turbo, goal with approximately between 12 and 20 psi. That's an LQ4 where we'd have to put a different cam in it. I would like to put different pistons in it. The connecting rods are in great shape. They don't need refurbishing. The cylinders are in great shape. I just need to put new cam bearings in, because the cam bearing, I looked at them, you know, don't do that. So that would be really cool, bring the Buick down. Right now it's running a TH400 that, you know, the thing leaks real bad. I should have replaced the main seal and the rear main seal. I did replace the rear main seal, put a whole new tail shaft housing on it. Should have put a new front main seal in it. Dust Over Garage says, now Dust Over Garage he's been working, he's been to Sykeston once and ran once before with, and ran it brought it as a show car. But he actually called out the Super back in the day. That was like 3 years ago. 4 years ago? I don't know. Have you watched Sarah N. Tuned? She almost is done with building a 74 Celica with a 2UZ. It's beautiful. I have not, but first generation Celicas are, I'd say, my second favorite looking car from Toyota. First being the third gen Supra. But the first gen Celica is, there's just something, like, okay, I'm not a Ford guy. I would admit, I want a 71 Mustang, like Mach, like the fastback. It's the only Ford Mustang I like. But I'll have to look her up. It does sound really awesome, because everything about the Ford Mustang is what, in my mind, the Celica, the first generation Celica, looks like. Just more appealing as far as the proportions. There have been a couple people that have put the 1UZs in it, the 2UZs. The only problem I have with the 2UZ, so here's the thing. I have 2 spares. One block bare with everything that needs to go. Heads are sitting right there, all machined. And then I have another 1UZ FE over there with all cleaned up, all prepped, ready to rock and roll, all studs, everything, all ARP studs throughout the entire block, because I assumed I was going to blow up the engine that's in the car now. They're all 1992, believe it or not. Don't know how it all ended up that way, but they're all from 1992. Those are the strongest ones. Hold on a second. So this is a piston from a 92 1UZ FE. And the connecting rod is the most stout you're going to get out of all of them. When they go to the VVTi, they get more narrow. By the time they go to the 2UZs and the 3UZs, they are like pencil thin. So the 2UZs, the other problem they have is, hold on a second, back. Other problem with the 2UZ or the 3UZ is they've boarded out so much that the sleeves are very thin. They don't take boost. The problem with the 2UZ is they're cast iron and they're 2-bolt main, whereas the regular 1UZs, these guys are very similar to the LS engines. You have the 4 and then 1 on either side. So you have 6-bolt mains. So you really have a pretty stout engine. That and the fact that your cams are above, there's less structure down below. Downside is it also makes a very wide engine. So even though you can look at the LS and the 1UZ side by side, these are 30%, both of these are 30% the size of the actual product, like the one that you're going to put in your car. So these are exactly 30%. And you can see just how small this engine is. However, you throw those heads on it, it's like a first generation Hemi. First generations Hemis are small blocks. They're very small. I love them. But once you put those big old heads on it, same problem with this. If you're gonna try to, if you're trying to put something into a smaller chassis like the Supra, it's a tight fit. She's gonna run into that same problem with the Celica. It's a tight fit. A lot of people that have done that swap have also put the K-frame in from an LS400 or an SC400, preferably the SC400, because it's the same thing as a fourth gen Supra. But I'll have to look at it. They can't take as much boost at all. Like you're really 400, 500 horsepower is your max from a 2UZ. That being said, you can mount a 1UZ FE in the place of the 2UZ if you ever blow it up. And you can buy all of them for like $500. Hey, John Wilburn's here. If you haven't already checked out John Wilburn, make sure you head over and hit the subscribe button over at John Wilburn's channel. That's a really small block. It's a small block. Actually, funny enough, these things weigh 80 pounds less than a 5.3 liter. I think it would be a fourth generation, because that's what I measured. An aluminum 5.3 liter. So this weighs 80 pounds less. The heads, when you put it all together, it comes out to being like 40 pounds less. Again, the heads are much bigger than the LS, but however, a lot of people hate this. This right here is where your starter goes, and people complain about it because you have to take the intake manifold off, and people are like, oh, it's so much work. It's literally like an hour. But here's the benefit. You can run huggers, really tight manifolds or headers on the side of it, allowing you to be able to fit it into a more narrow frame. So that's one of the benefits in the Supra, is it just straight down the through it. Like the Cadillac Northstar. Yeah, except for without the head bolts that are too small, and GM had a perfect opportunity to make a really good dual overhead cam engine, and they just failed. I mean, better than Mercedes in my opinion, but you know, I don't like Mercedes. But they have, I'd say it's kind of like how the Coyote is, but Coyote's huge. That is a big engine. Not a Ford guy though, so I wouldn't do it. Couldn't get me to buy it. And I also really like, don't get me wrong, I like the LS engines. I could really care less about the 2JZ engines. And if I want a straight six, I'm hyper focused on the engine that I'm looking at over there. You can see it. And that, right now, we've done some work. You see there's a head on the ground, and there's that guy right there. And that is a 2002 4.2 liter Vortec or Atlas engine. And the funny part about it is the heads from that year are about 90 horsepower less than like the 06, 07, 09, like to 09 heads. So I was able to get a set of, or the set heads, the head, straight six, the head, it's 180 degrees, cross swell. So I picked that up for $150, and I was like, man, I can't even bring myself to ask them if I could get it for less if I go pull it off the engine, because they're a freaking night. When I hated pulling that engine. I've never hated pulling an engine before. I wanted to light the truck on fire. It was terrible. And so when I go pick up the head, and he was like, man, this should have been like $300. This was a miserable pull. I'm like, bud, I couldn't believe you were selling it for $150. He goes, why? I'm like, because it's 90 more horsepower. All right, let's see. Dust Over says, okay, I have to ask if you make it to No Name Nationals. I'm not trying to pressure you. I know it's a long trip. Can we renew our call out with Duster versus the Buick? Hey, listen, I'm just there for fun. And when I was trying to get there the first year, it would have been just for fun. So I'll run anyone that wants to run the Buick. I'll be completely honest with you. It's got some modifications to the engine. It's got larger injectors, bigger intake, bigger throttle body. It is now. I doubt I'll have the 2JZ engine, or not the 2JZ, the twin turbo LS in it by then. So if that thing, and I struggle to say, if that thing's making 400 horsepower, I'd be impressed. So I would be inclined to say it's got the TBSS intake manifold, which is the best LS intake. It's running 317 heads, which are great for turbos, I guess. They're about as lethargic as you can get. But I like that. So it's all about fun. If you make it there, you win. So when I did the great race, you know how you win the great race? You win it by making it to the end. And yeah, so I like that. You win it by being there. And that's a good way of putting it. So I have to sell a lot of these car buddies for me to make it. So we'll get there, hopefully. But yeah. Oh, and I can't hook. I can't make it hook. Burnouts are great. It's a one-legger. Anything more than that, I'm going to break the rear end because it's running the Buick 8.2 inch. So it's a 10 bolt, but it's an 8.2. And people that say, well, Buick 8.2s are stronger. Baloney. They had the corporate 8.5 in the next couple years. But in 1970, there was no option for an 8.5. 8.5s can be made to be as strong as a 12 bolt very easily. Unfortunately, Buick, okay, so I don't get this, and someone enlighten me on why this is the case. Oldsmobile had its own 12 bolt. It's not the same. It's just like the Buick 8.2 and 8.5. They're different. They're kind of the same, like same, but different, but still same. So they're kind of different. But Buick, which had the most torquey engine out of the bunch, the Buick 455 is an absolute monster. But for some god-awful reason, Buick never had a 12-bolt from the factory. So your only options were, if you were lucky, to get the corporate 8.5, and then if you knew, like Terry McGeehan did an article back, I want to say in the 80s or early 90s, on how you can go get all the parts and pieces and combine them and make one that's as strong as a 12-bolt, but without having to pay the money for a 12-bolt. The other problem is the 8.2 I have is one granny gear, two. It's a one-legger, which is good because if that hooks, it's going to just blow up. So I'm not going to say it's going to make an amazing pass, but I'll have fun. I like to finally get to put faces more than just the faces I've seen on here. I'll actually see them. Dust Devil Garage says I don't have enough power to worry about. Not hooking my car brakes, everything but traction. There's always a possibility if I get the truck to the point where I'm painting parts and I get the Supra painted, maybe I'll drive the Supra down. I wanted to go on the Power Tour last year with it. I'm kind of glad I didn't because a manual transmission on Power Tour that's running a stage 3.5 clutch would be, and no air conditioning. It has a target top, but if I take the target top off and do anything more than just gently go, it will twist the thing and break it. And I'm like, that's not me just being like, oh, I'm making so much torque. For some god-awful reason, when Toyota put a target top in those things, if you take the top out, they are absolute pretzels. I don't think they did any, I can't see where they've made any significant changes in the structure of the unibody to account for the fact that there's not a roof above you. So around corners, you can really feel that thing just doing weird flexes. So you really need to, like, no air conditioning is a nightmare in a black car. And the R154 transmission creates so much heat. When I put the sound deadening / heat insulation in, I took all the old crap out. It's the chicken wire tar shit, which I actually took that out when it was negative 14 degrees, around that. It just hit it with a hammer, and like not even hard. It just like big sheets just popped right off. And I took 60 pounds of that crap out. No audio. Anyone else having audio problems? Would a roll bar help? Probably. Oh, is my phone not charging off of this battery pack? That's clever. I think my phone's getting old. As far as getting, I'll get a little closer. We'll get personal here. Roll bar. The problem I have with the roll bar in that car is it's very small. In fact, the red Supra I have, that has the moonroof, which is a metal panel that rolls back, and that little extra amount of space that takes up, and I mean it's like a quarter of an inch. I have to drive down the drag strip with my helmet on like this to fit into where the window is on the top. So it's a really it's a kind of big car. Pardon me. It's a kind of big car, but not really. So roll bar would be nice, but realistically, it's just don't take the roof off. If you don't take the roof off and you leave the roof in, it's fine. There is no problems. And there's a guy or a company that used to make what looks like a roll bar that just bolts into where the target top comes off. So maybe someday I'll make one like that, but ultimately, you're better off just leave the target top on. I never had any leaking problems until right after I did the 1UZ swap. I took the roof off, and then nothing leaked. I put new seals in, and that solved the problem, but it's just like anything else. Just if you don't have to mess with it, don't mess with it. Leave it in. If you can find a hardtop one of those cars, they are a little bit lighter. So, and again, big shout out to Dust Devil Garage for picking up two of these guys right here. So they'll go out on Monday with Colleen's and Josh ordered one, two. So Brian, kind of let us know what else you might be doing to your car, getting ready for this year at Sykeston. But the one cool thing about the Buick is it is just a absolute great cruiser. The only thing it is really, it needs a new battery. If I leave a trickle charger on it, no problem. But the battery is out of one of our work trucks. It was an old battery that was kind of junk. So I like to take batteries out of the junkyard. That being said, one of the cool upgrades on the Supra is a orange top battery from Optima. They sent that in the charger for it, and that was 41 pounds lighter, I think. I think it came out to being just over 7 pounds compared to the original battery that was 48 or 49 pounds. And that thing cranks it so much better. Dust Devil Garage says, I'm working on steering and brakes mainly. I want it to be 100% safe down the track. That's, we all want to make it home at the end of the day. I really don't like when people cut corners while they're building their cars running down the track. I've had a lot of friends that fortunately have been able to walk away from their crashes, except for one of them. He likes to joke about that. But he couldn't walk to his car before. Great guy. His name is Speedy Wheels. He is paraplegic, and he had a absolute massive wreck. He took his cat eye green Camaro, and he hit a wall hard, and the thing got him just really abused. And afterwards, I'm like, dude, how you doing? He goes, oh, well, unfortunately, it wasn't a good wreck, because any wreck you can walk away from is a good wreck. Dark humor there, bud. But yeah, the Supra, for example, running 17 pounds of boost through that engine. I ran, everything is AN fitting. The coolant lines are fitting, AN fittings. The fuel lines are AN fitting. The oil lines are AN fitting. Everything is, because you want to be able to go home. That's the big part. My concern was, it's 240,000 miles on that engine. We blow a head gasket, pressurize the coolant system, and your hose comes off of it. and now you have coolant of all things, or water, with wetter water in it. Either way, you have water, you have liquid going behind you and getting all over your tires, and now you're done. So I agree with Dust Devil Garage, 100% safe down the road. Give me one of those plates from my wall. One of those over here. This one's cool. This one actually came off of my Buick when I bought it, and then I have another one that's really cool, which I have no idea where that is. I have a plate from a really good friend. He gave it to me. It used to be on, why can't I think of his name? I used to listen to him all the time as a kid. Garth Brooks. It came off of his tour bus. I don't know where that went. I don't know. No idea. Let's see. Dust Devil, my daily has been down for a while. Been working on that. Soon I'll be putting out videos on the Duster and my van. My daily is, I really need to get it up on the lift. I want to go through it. That's the Chevy Caprice PPV from 2012. I bought that from my really good friend Roland. And like, I hate to say this, right? I love the Buick. Driving around the Buick is a lot of fun. I could fit all 3 kids in my Caprice. The wife, everyone's comfortable. AC, that thing. I put the little pursuit mode on. That thing's like a mind blower. On the tier of all the cars I love to drive, like no line, I absolutely love driving the Supra. That's the number one. That thing is an absolute savage animal. And then I gotta say, the Caprice PPV, if you ever have the opportunity to buy a first generation in the United States PPV, not the SS, those things are like 40 grand, 30, 40 grand. But you get a 2012 Chevy Caprice PPV, they are, oh my God, so much fun. You wanna go sideways, go sideways. You know, it's rear wheel drive, it's got 340, 350 horsepower. The SSs have even more, but it's an LS, so you do whatever you want. You want to throw a Corvette supercharger on it? Go for it. But then it's the Buick. I'd say after the Buick, I would say it's the massively long 4-door, 8-foot bed, 89 crew cab monstrosity of a square body. Then it'd probably be the Cadillac. Only problem with the Cadillac is just it's got issues, partly because of its age and partly because it wasn't really well maintained for the 30 years it was in a pole barn. One of the issues is it smells really bad. But once Sam gets, into rebuilding it, we're going to put all new interior in it. We're going to patch any little tiny holes it has. There's a problem with the driver's side door. I'm inclined, and a lot of people have been very mad at me for suggesting this, but I'm inclined to take the original drivetrain out and do what they did over at Hemmings. They have a beautiful 69 Chevelle. They pulled the original drivetrain out, crated it so they could put a different engine in it and drive it everywhere. That way, if anything ever happened to that engine, it's gone. They just put a different one in. But the original engine can always go back in. So that's what I want to do with the Cadillac. That way I could put, disc brakes in it, seat belts, it doesn't have seat belts, and a modern drivetrain in it so she can drive it anywhere she wants. I'm building a boogie van as a tow rig. There you go. My square body pickup truck's my tow rig. That's my goal. It's inverted, but it says XNB. No, that's not inverted. That's normal. It's it's cool. I dig it. Listen to this from Europe. Jealous levels over the roof. Oh, so this one's vintage too. Like this is like someone come at you with this thing, you could knock them out unconscious. This is pretty heavy. Look at that. I got real old original New York. Original New Yorks were blue with the yellow. That was back when New York was awesome. Now we want to move to Tennessee or something. Dust Devil Garage. Yes, I did end up selling the Satellite. That was beginning of last year. I was up to 15 cars, and I had to make decisions. We had something really bad happen the year before. Financially, things were kind of at a head point, so it was bad. I'll eventually be able to tell you guys what happened. Unfortunately, I can't yet. But it changed everything. It's why I kind of like disappeared for a while. It's why I did the Buick the way I did. It was more for myself, just to have like, I needed space. And so I decided we were going to do something crazy. And I did a one-off video for it. Tidied it up a little bit, but the car came up awesome. But I had to be able to afford it. And it cost $1,000 for the entire front rebuild. That's with the QA1 anti-sway bar. That's with the disc brake conversion. The new that was a new brake master cylinder. I came with a brand new booster, but the booster didn't work right. I ended up giving that to a buddy and using the CCP one I got from Dunny B, and I put that one back on the car. That's with about 6,000. All in on the Buick, I'm in it around 12. It's about 6 for the car, bits and pieces, and all of the accoutrement that went into the LS swap. Of course, you have to jailbreak it. It's about $100, $200, $100 because it's 2 tokens for the engine module. So the satellite went to a new home. He said he was going to bring it to one of the events, but he said he was going to do all kinds of stuff to it. I was really excited to see where it went, but I haven't seen anything from it, which is unfortunate. I found the satellites I took on my driver's test, and it was being picked up by someone sometime this summer. I took my driver test on a pickup truck. I learned to drive a car the entire time. I had the Supras when I was, the entire time. I think I learned how to drive on a Subaru. And then the Subaru wasn't working the day of the test, and I had to drive my stepdad's pickup truck for this first time. I was not confident on that test. I did pass, but I was a nervous wreck going into that. I can only imagine being of the time period to have to drive these land yachts like the Satellite. It's a pretty long car. I learned how to drive a manual by watching YouTube videos from a driver instructor. There you go. I learned how to drive a manual because I was 14 years old. I had hay baled and worked the county fair. Well, it wasn't really county fair. It was the Saratoga fair. So it wasn't, no, Scaticoke Fair, not the Saratoga Fair, Scaticoke Fair. And I worked the grandstand selling, popcorn, coffee was pouring down my arm. 14 years old, parking cars, I got paid for doing that. And I was able to wrangle $900. I bought the car that I wanted, right, was an old Trans Am with an 8-track in it. I couldn't afford that. So I bought what in my mind was the next best thing, which mechanically definitely was. F bodies, anything like the previous versions, beautiful cars. Mechanically, I don't like how they did some things, especially the F bodies. F stands for frustration. So I bought the Super because I thought it looked like an old Trans Am. It was silver. It was awesome. It was an 88, which they have their own issues, especially with rust because they had metal where they shouldn't have had metal, and it just not particularly good. The body styles are kind of meh. They have some differences. The spoilers on them look like a surfboard and they're ugly. They had issues. But in my mind, 14 years old, that was a Trans Am. I wanted it. So I learned how to drive that manual car going up and down my Mimi and Papa's driveway because my mom was not aware that I bought a 1988 Toyota Supra, 14 years old, from my uncle. And so I hid it behind the barn at my Mimi and Papa's house. And when I was there on the weekends, my papa said the only rule is no burnouts in my driveway because it was a tar driveway and it would have made a mess, and no driving up and down the lane. I never did a burnout in this driveway. I won't say anything other than that. I'm 14 now. A few years ago, at 9 years old, I only knew how to dump a clutch in first gear. Couldn't figure out how to do it. I wasn't in a car driving around at 9, so you're ahead of where I was. But I'm glad that where you are right now, you're passionate about cars, because I am worried. I'm worried where the hobby goes from here. I'm definitely pushing to have my kids maybe not eat, breathe, and sleep cars, but pretty close to it. So it really does make me happy to see someone or hear about someone that's your age that is excited, because a lot of, like, my kids they get about a little over a half hour of screen time on a touch device. It's an old cell phone on Saturday and Sunday. Other than that, during the week, they don't have access to it. I try to get them to watch some of the older stuff when they have screen time on the TV. Mr. Rogers, though Sam and Dean are being 6, they're kind of out of the Mr. Roger phase. So we have, like, they're kind of out of the VeggieTales phase too. So now they're really, really into the car stuff. I'm trying to keep them less addicted to screens and more addicted to getting their hands dirty, playing with Legos and stuff. So I'm glad to see someone that is your age working on cars, even if it's doing hoodlum stuff like doing burnouts. So hey, we've all been there. I've broken many things doing that, and you'll learn how to fix them. Cars mean a lot to me. My dad doesn't work on our car, just kind of gets his mechanic to do everything, because I want to start working on it myself. He doesn't want to pay some labor. That's how we all did it. When I had my car, my very first cars going through school, high school into college, my Blue Super, I did a lot of work to that. That one was really good. But I had my daily driver, because I found the Super was really dangerous in the winter. I would have thought. I had a Saturn SC1, and that was a great car. I mean, honestly, it's a shame that one back window broke. I'm not telling you how I broke that, but back window broke, and it was less expensive just to buy another one. And then ultimately the transmission broke. Well, no, ultimately the engine broke, and then I swapped the engine and transmission, and the transmission broke, and then I said, I don't want to deal with it anymore. So it was a good car until it wasn't, and then it was a bad car. Hey, Thomas! Oops, I'm late, but I was working on my stereo in the van. Hey, it's important. The Super has no radio, no speakers either. So yes, working on stereo is important. I got to put a stereo inside the truck. That is a specific request from Stephanie, my wife, that it needs to have a radio. Preferably one that when we're doing a 16-hour plus long road trip somewhere, she can control the music. Fortunately, we have similar tastes, and by similar, we have exactly the same tastes. Don't listen to rap, don't listen to country. We pretty much listen like AC/DC, that type of stuff, Back in Black, whether we're going to go some Metallica, some Rammstein, some Scorpions, things like that. Yeah, some original Pink Floyd, I guess, sure. She likes the Beatles. That's not allowed to play on my radio. I hate the Beatles. Hot take. You can hate me for it, but I hate the Beatles. Don't like them. They made some good music. I won't lie. Hate Skillet. Yeah, there you go. It's a good choice. Hate the Beatles. Rolling Stones, hate them too. They had good songs. The problem is when you make 2,000 songs, if you don't have 5 that are good, then that kind of thing. So I'm trying to wrap my head around how wiring works. So wiring work is, I was a commercial industrial electrician, right? I've worked on everything from 40,000 volts to 5 volts running on fire alarm. I also got the opportunity many times, to work on Atlas Capco 12-stage compressors. They do natural gas. I also worked on ones that compressed nitrogen to liquid nitrogen, and they were going on ships and doing, like, we're talking $4, 5, $10 million machines. So inevitably, when I'm working on a car with someone else, I get stuck with wiring. I don't mind doing wiring. I paid someone to make the wiring harness for the Supra because it had the original factory stuff. I called out into the content creator because he was talking smack, and I wanted to race him with the Supra, and then I did not have the time or the patience to go through and make my own wiring harness. So that was made in New Zealand by a company called Cartoon. They are, in my opinion, like, it's Calvin. Calvin is peak knowledge when it comes to 1UZ stuff. Brandon over in Quantum Mechanic is also quantum something out in California is really good too. But like the holy grail to me is Calvin. He is an incredible person. If you like the 1UZ FE, you need to go follow him because he's got everything. He needs anything he needs. But so I just didn't have the time. I was more worried about getting everything mechanically built so that I was able to run the supercharger. The Hull Tech system was installed. It's so much to do, including take the original 373 rear gear ratio and converting it to a 410/30. No, 411 with the final drive of the 26-inch tires as 442s, 430 gear ratio. So it's a 430 gear ratio with 26-inch tires. Dust Devil Garage says, it's okay, I hate Pink Floyd. So my question for you is old Pink Floyd or newer Pink Floyd? Because original Pink Floyd, not bad. Some of it is really good. Later Pink Floyd, care less about it. No interest whatsoever. Any Pink Floyd. Okay, that's fair. Everyone has their own taste. As long as we can kind of agree on rap, I don't know. Everyone has their own taste. I can't bring myself. Beastie Boys is okay. Biggie G back in the day, that's okay, I suppose. Just modern stuff, I can't. 14 listening to Forever Young. It's a good song. I don't know if that's the actual name of the song. I'm not really good at remembering names or anything, but I know the song that you speak of. And I love Back in the Old House. Back to my old house. I don't know other songs from my century. It's okay. Thomas Fisher says rap. Yeah, I don't know. I heard once someone was cocktailing lasers. I'm like, what does that mean? Are we mixing like CO2 lasers with, like, I don't know, argon lasers? Are we mixing a little bit of krypton lasers in it? Are we getting like a spectrum of colors? And then are we just like reverse Pink Floyd? What's going on? Captain Do, what's up, my guy? I was going to say something clever. I don't know. I'm bad with analogies and whatnot. So, ZZ Top sounds food on thumping stereo. Oh, sounds good on thumping stereo. ZZ Top. I don't know if I've ever listened to ZZ Top. Here's the problem though, right? Here's the kicker. Every car I've owned, virtually, that I've like ever worked on for any more than just like driving down the road, almost inevitably has the stereo and speakers taken out, because I think I pulled 100 pounds out of the Supra, just stereo related stuff, whether it's the sound boxes that were in the back with the speakers, the sound head, or whatever you want to call it, the stereo head, the speakers in the front, the tweeters, pulling all of that out, and the boxes that are attached to it. It was close to like 80 to 100 pounds of just stuff that doesn't need to be in it. I wasn't always able to make a supercharged Toyota Supra. You know, a lot of it had to do with getting 60 pounds of sound deadening out, 100 pounds of stereo out, things like that. Horsepower is not always made. Sometimes it's, not technically horsepower. Captain Do, so you all talking about music. Yeah, I guess. I don't know how I got on it. I can't stand a car with a bad stereo system. The best stereo system in the world, I'm telling you, is just the right sounding exhaust. It's great. Love it. As long as it's not droney. Like, The one complaint I have about the Caprice is it's a bit drony. If you're in the 3,500 RPM band, actually 3,000. If you're around the 3,000 RPM bandwidth, that thing is just drony. You're on the highway and you're stuck and you can't get quite up to 65 miles per hour. You're stuck in the 60. It's drony. The Buick is very drony. Dust Devil Garage says, I want a good system in the van. Not worried about the weight. No, it's like the pickup truck. I'm putting. I showed a picture of all of the sound deadening. I mean, I'm putting a ton of sound deadening inside the square body. My stepbrother's like, that's gonna add like 200 pounds. I'm like, it's a crew cab with an 8-foot bed. It's technically a 1 ton. It's a 1 ton now. It had a 1 ton frame, just had 3/4 ton rear springs. I'm like, I don't care about adding 80 pounds of sound deadening. So it's gonna get proper sound speakers. It's gonna have a nice. I would like to have a sound head or a stereo head that looks more proper from the era, but has a good sound and is Bluetooth enabled. That way I can just drive and the wife can put AC/DC on for me and I can just be like, oh yeah, not allowed to let the bodies hit the floor because I'm not trusted with cars being driving and having that go. That's a bad idea. So that's not too worried about that. And I agree, like in your van, it's gonna be a tow rig. Who cares if it weighs an extra certain amount of weight? Put lots of sound deadening, especially like the square bodies. Square bodies are not known for being quiet. That thing rattles. You can hear all the sound on the doors as it's going through. I took one of the factory doors and I compared, I'll do it in a video when it's time. I have one of the factory doors and all my doors have 2 layers of the sound deadening in it. And it sounds like a Mercedes. It's just like this compared to, and I'm just like, this is gonna make a big difference. So are you running a generator power? No, we did get power back. So earlier on, we have none of these things being made right now. And the reason why we have none of them being made, we lost power twice today. So all the machines are currently shut down and not on. The battery backups are charging back up. They were on battery backup for a while today. Fortunately, what was being printed completed, and that way I don't have any lost, product there. What I was printing today actually were these guys. This is a TH400 tail shaft plug, and this is the dipstick tube plug. I made them because I have a bunch of TH400s, and they're kind of just exposed to everything out in the garage. They're not in here. The only transmissions I have in here are super transmissions, and I have a couple 8833s. 2. One of them is out there. So the TH400s, the 727s I have one 727 left. They're out. That's a small block bell housing. That's out in the garage. So it's not a wet garage. It's not terrible. The Supra has no problems with keeping my basement throughout the entire house has an average humidity of 10%, 15% in between there. And the reason why is I have the furnace runs in the winter, but I have a really powerful dehumidifier running, so my engines stay dry. It's also why I'm always dry and why I drink so much water down here, because it's like it sucks the moisture out of you. Dust Devil Garage, Brian, I will see you later. Hey, a big shout out to Brian. Head over to his YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, show him some love. He's working on an awesome duster. He just started working on a van, and also he bought 2 on intake manifold, like this right here. This right here, Car Buddies. So big shout out to him. I very much appreciate it. We have a bunch of them in stock, especially black, gray, orange. We have some blues. They are going to be continuing production tomorrow. So anything you see on the website is available. And that's just LunarOutlaw's.com. You can pick them up there. I'm going to head out 4 a.m. Oh my God. Good night. I can't do that anymore. Captain Dew says, I could not get any good sleep yesterday morning from 1 a.m. because big thunderstorm. Yeah, I think you're south. If I remember, my memory serves, you're south from our weather. The past 24 hours has been really crazy. I think it's the remnants of all the stuff that was going on out west finally hitting us, but the weather's been terrible, wicked windy. 2 Hat Garage, how are you doing, sir? Again, if you haven't already checked out Two Hacks Garage, head over there, hit that subscribe button. Always working on something cool over there. So, actually, while I was on the live stream, I think it was Unfinished Projects gave me an idea. Okay, so I originally came up with these two designs. I originally wasn't even gonna, this wasn't supposed to hit until next month, but I was delivering this to a local speed shop. And that, if you're in the New York area and you want to go to an awesome drag strip, go to Lebanon Valley Dragway. And Carol's gonna have these. She runs the speed shop there. These are gonna be currently their only physical location will be at the speed shop in the tower at Lebanon Valley Dragway. Both options will be available there. But otherwise, it's LunarOutlaw's.com. The only place you can buy them, nowhere else. It's my website. Everything is done in-house, including the website. But I was originally going to design it like this. And then she was like, well, my dragster has open carburetors. We throw rags on it during the day. Could you make these? And these are UV protected or resistant. And, they're good for, well, the Freedom units is like 197 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like 90 degrees Celsius, whatever the Celsius stuff. I don't understand that. Freedom units. When I was in college, I went to school for science and engineering. We still used Freedom units there. But these guys right here are only for the 4150s or 4160s. They don't do the larger ones. The what are they called? Why can't I think of that one? Irregardless, it doesn't do the spread bore. And the reason why is because in order for these to actually get bolted on properly, I was worried about structure of it. I didn't want them to crack under pressure. There's as much infill or solid material as possible, less infill through here. It's all about making a quality product, not a Swiss Army knife. So I would have to come up with a bunch of different options. And that's where we were talking about it. And Unfinished Projects actually made a really good idea. Instead of making a bunch of different options, right? What we could do is an adapter plate. In fact, it would be sort of like this right here. This is an adapter plate that was on my Buick. I don't know why they used it, because they did it wrong, irregardless. You'd be able to take and just make this out of the same material for a 2-barrel. So a big shout out to Unfinished Projects for making the suggestion, because then you can just take this, bolt this onto a spread bore, and then you'd still be able to run your, but therein runs the problem. So you'd run it like that. But, instead of making a bunch of different options on these, you just make a kit that has, the GM 2-barrel, the Ford 2-barrel, the Mopar 2-barrel. Because if we start making all those different options, I can make these for a lot less money, and then you can just adapt this over and set this onto your project. That way, at the end of the day, you're not going to have to buy 5 different versions of the car buddy. You could just get like a kit for the price of probably one car buddy. So that was a great idea. So this is one of the reasons why I really like your guys' input, and this is why I really was excited to be able to go on to John Wilburn's. I'm building, my goal is to make products that solve problems that I've had. Whether it's that, business card holders are just kind of like add-on things that kind of hopefully gets me to be able to fund my projects here. But otherwise, if I run into a problem, whether it's how I'm going to fix the AN fittings to this pot on the engine, I can make a fitting or a section of whatever, make it 100 times until I get it exactly where I want it, and then I can have it up for sale on the website. So anything like, I have a bunch of transmissions of different varieties. Being able to block off the oil dipstick tube with one of these things saves me from having to constantly catch my leg on a dipstick tube just kind of floating around. Putting a blocking off thing like this guy in the tail shaft allows me to store it, not get crap inside the tail housing, and when I go install it, not leak all over my floor or my driveway. Driveway, not so much of a problem. Technically, I should be worried about it, but transmission fluid's mostly just, you know, detergent, right? Spray down, you're cleaning your driveway. So I think, Captain Do, you're onto something. I just think that, and then one of the other cool things about rapid prototyping these things, my original, these guys right here, you can actually see this one compared to this one, and they're shorter, right? So originally I'm like, I'm golden. This is perfect. It fits on, you know, QuadroJet. Throw it on your QuadroJet. It's great. It indexes, and once you have it indexed, which is, hold on a second, where's the front? Here's the front. Once you index it on your car or your QuadroJet, boom, it's golden. And then the problem came one day. I'm like, you know what? I haven't tried it on one of my vintage Hollies right here, right? That's going to be one of your number one. This one's weird because, no, this one's not the weird one. This is my weird vintage Holly where it's a spreadboard Holly. Ow, that one went right into my hand. So I'm like, let's go ahead and pop that on there. Oh, crap. It doesn't fit. It impacts it. So unfortunately, that one is not worth anything. That's why you get this guy right here. And then you index it on. There you go. There's your car buddy. And it sits on there. So it had to be taller. And it was funny because, you know, you couldn't have gotten away with making things like this back in the day. It just would have been impossible. And look, I haven't made them available yet, but look at these little carb stands. Isn't that neat? I did that just so I can display these. And I kind of think they'd be great for working on the actual carburetor. I got one of those Mr. Gaskets 1932. Is that what this is? I think you're on to something here. 1932, you're right, sir. This came off of the Buick. I would love to know how long this was on the Buick. I have other ones over there, spacers and stuff. This one I get a kick out of. I also have a 1933 Mr. Gasket 2 to 4-barrel adapter plate, and it took GW Webb and can, let's see, use spreadboard carb on the 2-barrel intake. There you go. Hi, Justin. So one of the cool things I actually saw the other day was over on Luke's Facebook group. He is, oh man, what's the name of his channel? Why can't I think Luke's Finley's YouTube channel? It is, oh man, great YouTube channel too. Oh man, it kills me. I can't think of his channel name. Luke Finley's. He does a lot of Ford stuff. Hangs out with Dylan McCool. Why can't I think of his YouTube channel name? It's a Ford, I think it's a Ford reference. But he is making his own adapter plates and spacers and stuff, and they are made out of a great material. Like these are nice, right? Mr. Gasket, not gonna knock it. But it's aluminum, right? One of the cool things about the Thermobog is that it's got this really cool Bakelite thing. Unfortunately, it's Bakelite, which means it's going to break. This one's not broken. This one's in really good shape. This is 850 CFM. I think it's 850. It's a big boy. But it's got this nice thing right here. Kind of helps keep the fuel from being exposed to the heat from the intake manifold. Not that the intake manifold's super hot, but, you know, he has it made out of I think it's like a carbon fiber graphite like material. I can't remember. But it's awesome. It's really cool. I dig it. So you don't have to worry about like your heat transfer. I was thinking about making spacers as well. Problem with the spacers that I can make 3D printed would have to be made out of a nylon. There's some benefits of, they would have to be like a carbon fiber nylon. Downside of nylon is it absorbs moisture from the air, which is good and bad. For a carb spacer, I think it would be fine. The problem is it's a very technical material that I'm not quite ready to start manufacturing. Let's see. Colleen says, I love the carb stand. Excellent. I love that they don't, or I hate that they don't sit flush on their own. Right? So I have some ideas of bringing them to places and stuff, and just having the carburetor sit. I actually made them because I have a coffee table sitting right here that is a 4.3 liter LS and a beautiful glass top, which currently is covered with just stuff. But I didn't want to just put the carburetor on it. And you can see the mess that I have right here. So I have the two carburetors that are over here sitting on stands, and the glass won't get all boogered up. So it does suck that carburetors won't sit on their own, and you have to do something with it. Yeah, I can't. Yes, I don't know if it was resin. I can't remember, but that's probably what it was. Use 2 of those adapter plates will make you a good spacer on an intake. I have a wicked cool spacer. Hold on a second. Oh. Won't work for a square bore, but boom! That's a big, thick one. This, I think, might be a Mr. Gasket as well. Painted on it, so it's hard to tell. But this was off the 318 from the build that went up to Nick's garage. And that was just so we had a little bit more, created a larger plenum kind of, so. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to say big shout out to all you guys for, being with me for so long. And Colleen, you've been with me for a very long time. It's crazy because I can measure how old my twins are by how long I've been doing YouTube. I started YouTube within the very first video with the O2 BMW was a month after Sam and Dean were born. So a lot of you guys have been around pretty close to that time. Colleen has been around for probably close to 5 years. And unfortunately, some of you guys, I used to have great late night talks on the different Instagram things with some of you. One of you guys that have been with me forever passed away. 2 of you guys. But you guys have all been awesome. I'm very grateful that I've had such awesome parts of the community. And I really hope that I've, inspired you guys to, do something, even if it was to turn a wrench one day. If I've been able to do that, that's awesome. Captain Dew says, it's a good talk, but I still think about keeping an old square body truck bed and turning it into a trailer for it. Take an old square body truck bed and turning it into a trailer. I don't see why not. I mean, people turn cars into trailers, but again, big shout out to you all. And I'm not gonna change what I'm doing here. The goal is to continue working on projects, going on adventures. I want to do more with the Buick. I want to do it more with the Supra. The weather's finally turning around. We're going to get the square body front suspension off. Hopefully, maybe this week we'll be able to start it. It depends on how bad the rain's going to be. But next weekend, my goal is to have that front stripped off, new paint on the frame rails with the rust reformer, the roll cage paint on it, the new suspension put back on it, and then we can start putting that 496 cubic inch 8.1 liter Vortec in there with the Allison transmission, get the cross member all buttoned up. Then we can walk through how you can do the wiring for it. It's very similar to the way you do the LS. It's a little different. I've already jailbroke the ECU for it, so we have some modifications to it, mainly just deleting all of the nonsense like the EGR. That's all been blocked off. And we have other things like this right here. I'm still working on getting these 100%. This is just currently PLA to make it fit, but this will be ASA, and this will go into the scavenger for the fuel fumes that's going away. There's gonna be no charcoal canister, anything like that, and we're just gonna make this thing a great, reliable point A, point B. It's got a Eat and True track in it now, so we'll be able to do massive burnouts. In order for me to fund it, instead of pushing t-shirts, which I had a hard time doing, I have a great t-shirt provider. You can go to the website and order the t-shirts. That is right through Blacktop Yacht Club. But I want to make sure that I'm giving you something more than just something to wear. I get it. They help promote the brand if you're walking around with a t-shirt of me on it. But if I can provide you with meaningful products, I'd rather do that. So, and yeah, you guys are great. Thank you. I'll see you next week. I'm hoping to get a video out for you this week. If not, definitely the following week. We are all pretty much, we have 40 some odd carb buddies of the manifold type and like 12 of the hat types currently in inventory. So I think I'm pretty happy where I am with inventory. It just allows me to get back to working on everything. If you guys order any of your carb buddies, it takes like 2-3 days for me to get everything into boxes. Believe it or not, they're doing really well. These things are doing really well today. The smaller 1UZs, I posted up on one of the groups that I'm on, and I sold way more than I thought. So just give me a couple days to get your stuff out. As I'm getting better at this, hopefully I'll be to the point where I'm not Amazon. I'm not going to get it out same day, but I'll get it pretty close. So same time next week. Goal is, yes, moving forward around 9 o'clock on Saturdays. That way the kids are asleep, the wife's already in bed. I can hang out with you guys, and you don't have to hear the war that is 3 children of almost the exact same age, invading each other's space for whatever reason they decide at that moment, and then complaining about it. If you have kids, they are awesome, but they are definitely, and then we have Popsicle. Oh, what's up, Popsicle? The big boy. He's my shop cat. He follows me around like a dog. Yep, he's a good boy. He just came over. He's purring like crazy right now. So I'm gonna go up, drink some water, and probably go to bed. Start again tomorrow. Oh, there you go. Down you go. Take care, everyone. God bless. Keep your shiny side out.